On July 30th, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump made a bold announcement that sent shockwaves through global markets and diplomatic circles alike. In a statement posted on his Truth Social platform, Trump declared that the United States would impose a sweeping 25% tariff on all Indian imports, effective August 1st. This move, he explained, was a direct response to what he described as India's persistently high tariffs on American goods and its deepening trade and energy ties with Russia. In his own words, India continues to take advantage of the United States with unfair tariffs and massive purchases from Russia. India will therefore be paying a tariff of 25% plus a penalty for the above starting on August 1st. This sudden escalation has dramatically raised the stakes in U.S.-India trade relations. The tariffs threaten to upend a relationship that, until now, had been defined by cautious optimism and ambitious targets. Both nations had been engaged in protracted negotiations, aiming to resolve disagreements over market access and regulatory barriers, with the hope of reaching $500 billion in bilateral trade by 2030. Those aspirations are now under serious threat. For India, the implications are immediate and severe. The United States is one of India's most important trading partners, importing approximately $87 billion in goods in 2024 alone. Indian exports to the U.S. are heavily weighted toward labor-intensive sectors, including garments, pharmaceuticals, gems, leather, and petrochemical products. These industries, which employ millions and drive a significant share of India's export earnings, now face a daunting new hurdle. Analysts warn that the 25% tariff could slash export growth, reduce foreign exchange inflows, and potentially shave up to half a percentage point off India's GDP growth in the coming year. The textile and garment sector, in particular, is bracing for layoffs and factory closures, while pharmaceutical and jewelry exporters warn of lost contracts and shrinking margins. India's government has responded with a mix of caution and resolve. In a statement, officials said they were reviewing the implications of the U.S. actions and remained committed to fair and equitable trade negotiations, while safeguarding the interests of Indian farmers and industries. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi's administration, the challenge is twofold: protecting domestic jobs and industries from the fallout, while avoiding an outright trade war that could further destabilize an already fragile global economy. New Delhi has not announced any retaliatory measures as yet, but officials have hinted that all options are on the table if Washington does not reconsider. The roots of this dispute run deep. At the heart of the standoff are long-standing U.S. complaints about India's protective tariffs, especially on agricultural imports such as wheat, corn, rice, and genetically modified soybeans. India, for its part, has resisted opening its markets further, citing the need to shield its vast population of small farmers from global price shocks. Recent talks had made some progress, with India offering selective tariff cuts on U.S. products. But Trump's latest move suggests that, for now, compromise remains elusive. Layered atop these commercial disagreements is the broader geopolitical context. Trump's reference to India's massive purchases from Russia, including oil and military equipment, reflects growing U.S. frustration with India's balancing act between Western and Russian interests. This has become a particular flashpoint since the imposition of Western sanctions on Moscow following the Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariff strategy has itself come under legal scrutiny at home. Earlier this year, the United States Court of International Trade ruled that these tariffs exceeded the president's authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, issuing an injunction against their enforcement. The legal battle is ongoing, adding another layer of uncertainty for businesses on both sides. As August approaches, the world is watching to see how India and the U.S. will navigate this high-stakes standoff. With further negotiations planned, and both economies facing significant risks, the outcome will shape not just trade, but the broader strategic partnership between two of the world's largest democracies.